What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sector for Nerds. I'm Ryan Brower, and today I'm here to have a chat with y'all about The Bad Batch Season 2, giving you guys my overall thoughts and whether or not it was better than Season 1. But first up, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, head over to my other YouTube channel called Top 10 Character Moments, which, by the way, thank you all so much for helping me reach 150 subscribers. My goal was to get to that point before the end of the year, and y'all knocked it out of the park by April, which is absolutely incredible. Now I'm looking to see if I can double that by the end of this year and make it to 300 subscribers. It is a bit of a challenge, but I think we can get there with your support. So if you haven't yet, make sure you guys go over there and subscribe. Alright guys, so let's talk about The Bad Batch Season 2. I absolutely loved The Bad Batch Season 2. I love this show, and I really wish that it'd be going for more than 3 seasons. I talked about this during my Star Wars Celebration video when we were going over all the news, that I feel like that was the biggest shocker for me coming out of Celebration, because this show had so much potential to tell so many different stories throughout the time between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and you could do so through the eyes of the Bad Batch, and you did such a great job with it, like with Kanan in Order 66 and stuff with the Senate, and showing other surviving Jedi like Gunji, starting Hera's story. Like, there were so many amazing stories told through the eyes of the Bad Batch in this show, and I wish it was something that was going to continue. But looking at Season 2, you guys, specifically, and the first thing I want to touch on is Tech's arc. I feel like for obvious reasons, because Tech, to me, you guys, was probably the biggest standout character from this show. If you guys watched week to week my discussions of Bad Batch, we would do a segment called the Bad Batch Member of the Week. And one of the biggest parts of that was Tech. Like, he was a character that I kept bringing up time after time because of how much he had stepped up in this season. And it was all by design too. Like, I know it because I remember during Season 1, there were a lot of people that like, well, Echo and Tech, they ain't really doing much. And then I think they took that and went, all right, game on. Because Echo and Tech, I feel like, were the biggest characters this season. I feel like Wrecker took a step back. He didn't really do much this season, which stinks because that's my guy. Hunter, I feel like, did a little bit less as well, but it is what it is. But looking at Tech's arc and seeing in all the ways that he stepped up this season, and then figuring out where it all leads to him sacrificing himself, like it all makes sense, because this season is meant to get you invested in Tech, and it 100% worked, because I definitely was. He was probably like one of my least favorite members of the Bad Batch, and now he's up there with some of my favorite members. So I think they did a phenomenal job with Tech this season. And like, his death, I friggin' cried. It made me really sad and upset. But credit to the team working on the Bad Batch, because I think the biggest complaint that I've seen with Tech is that, people say, oh, he's very much like C-3PO. And what I've always said about Tech is he likes to look at things from an analytical perspective. He doesn't necessarily look at things from his own thoughts or feelings or whatever. It's more just about analytics and stuff, right? Like, remember in Season 1 where Omega tells the Bad Batch, did you know that flying is a feeling? And Tech is like, huh? Because to Tech, that doesn't compute. You know what I'm saying? Like, analytically, that doesn't make sense. But there were some nice moments with Tech in this season, like especially with him and Omega, where, especially when Omega was sad about Echo and Crosshair both being gone from the Bad Batch, and Tech being like, hey, look, at the end of the day, they made the choices that they made, and we have to move on and continue forward. So let's talk about Echo's arc in this season, you guys. Echo's arc, and I had predicted very early on in the season, like, hey, they're setting up something with Echo. Go back and watch some of those videos. And I remember, I think it was the one with Gunji, where I'm like, okay, they're definitely doing something with Echo, you guys. Like, whether he splits from the Bad Batch, whatever they're doing. And then like the next episode, he freaking splits from them. I was kind of hoping that we would have gotten an episode with Echo and Rex and all the other clones, especially like that one episode we saw where Hauser and Gregor and all them were there too. Like, I would have loved to have seen an episode with all those guys. But we didn't get it. Maybe in Season 3, we will start to see more of these clones make their way to the Bad Batch, because I do believe that Echo is going to stick around with the Bad Batch again, just because of Omega being captured and them trying to find her. I think he's going to stick around until they do. And that's maybe where they call in some favors, right? Like we get Rex, we get Hauser, hopefully Commander Cody. That's the thing. Rex and Cody, y'all better freaking reunite at season 3. I need to see it. But Echo, I feel like, makes a lot of heavy choices this season in trying to figure out like who he is and what it is that he wants to be doing, right? Because we see in Clone Wars, like he chooses to go with the Bad Batch because that's where he felt like he fit in. But now with Bad Batch not really wanting to be in the fight, and Echo does, he's like, okay, this is my time to go with Rex. The one domino that remains has returned to his captain. I want to touch on a few things with that finale episode as well. Like Sid selling out the Bad Batch obviously made me very upset, and I talked about this before. But once I saw that cruiser, I was like, no, she didn't just sell them out. And it was foretold, right? In that episode with Tech Racing, that one guy at the end, he was like, hey, watch your back with Sid. She's not to be trusted. And he was right. And then I made myself question, like, well, why would they go back to Ord Mantell in the first place? And when I rewatched the episode, I caught something that I didn't catch the first time around. And it's when Omega is being carried by Wrecker. Like after they crash, right? Echo's in the ship like, I can't stop it. The thing crashes. I got so scared for a moment. I'm like, they're all about to die. What's going on? And then luckily they were okay. But they get Omega back to the ship, and as they're doing so, I think either Hunter or Echo says, head to Ord Mantell, AZ can help us. So the reason they went back to Ord Mantell was to get help from AZ, which now, looking back on it, makes sense. I would have just taken AZ and ran, but it is what it is. But man, after watching that finale, like seeing Sid sell them out, seeing Hemlock like just carrying Tech's goggles or whatever, and then he just throws them on the ground, kind of like mocking his death, I just was like, oh, I want to punch this dude in the freaking face. I want to rip every bone out of his body. I got so angry. Like the way that this finale ended, it almost reminded me of the way that I felt after watching Avatar: The Last Airbender Book 2, that finale. Yes, it's a good story, but like also because it's a good story and bad things are happening, like I'm pissed off because I'm so invested. And one of the things that I really respected about the end of this season is the idea of separating characters. And now the reason why I feel like this is important, right? Because I thought at the end of this season, we were going to get the Bad Batch reuniting, but instead it did the opposite. It separated the characters. And in doing that, it makes you feel desperate to want to see them get back together. And I think that's such a good way to tell a story, which is why I think that Mando reuniting with Grogu so quickly may have been a mistake. Yeah, you can tell us that, oh, they were separated for 2 years or whatever you want to do. But when we're watching the shows live, there was like a year's time in there, and that was it. And pretty much since season 1, we have yet to see the Bad Batch fully reunite. And it only makes me want to see them get back together even more. So now to talk about whether or not Bad Batch Season 2 was better than Season 1. Let me put it to y'all this way. I think Season 2 was, I think, a little bit of a step down as far as like a season goes, because there were definitely more episodes in this season that I didn't like. However, that being said, the episodes that hit hard in this season, and I respect that. I think season 1 was a better, like, cohesive, consistent story, but I feel like season 2 had some incredibly good episodes. We're talking the Commander Cody episode, we're talking the Gunji episode, we're talking the Senate episodes, and I cannot believe I'm saying that, considering my history of me and talking about the Senate on this channel. Those finale episodes hit hard. It was so good. But I also really enjoy what they did in season 1 as well, like establishing the Bad Batch on their own as deserters, as people trying to survive in the galaxy. And again, telling those stories, not just about the Bad Batch, but with other characters as well. Characters like Cut Lawquane, Kanan Jarrus, Fennec Shand, Cad Bane, Harrison Dula, Gregor, all good stuff. So yeah, you guys, you'll have to let me know what you guys thought of the Bad Batch Season 2. Let me know in the comments below. Did you think it was better than Season 1? What were some of your favorite moments? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.